Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. I'm Atlas, joined by Chobra here as we have gone the distance in match number 2. APK do even out the series as once again, Griffin hold on to their winning record of not taking neutral objectives, having 0% of them so far in today's matches.
Yeah, not a great look. I mean, they did pick up the win in Game 1, but again, we've talked about it quite a few times. It was more due to APK not really being able to play out their comp as they needed and also utilizing those objectives. That changed in Game number 2 as we look at the player of the game, and it's going to be Secret.
I actually really like that Secret picked this one up. I voted for Ixu personally. I felt like Ixu did start off things very, very nicely, but the way that Secret was able to navigate team fights, always be there with key devours throughout this entire game. The trust fall happened with the rest of APK, and it was Secret that caught them. So it was really nicely done. This particular moment was extraordinarily well navigated by the Tahm Kench. You saw Antara immediately exhausted. Secret soaks up as much damage as possible, then pops the Grey Health. Here he had another fantastic Devour as this fight started, and Hybrid's positioning was never a question, and Flash Devour there onto Ixu as well. I mean, this is the trust fall that we were talking about, being able to always get his players into the correct positions, as Antara also falling prey to that Abyssal Voyage.
I mean, this was that moment, right, where he's able to devour right before the Emperor's Divide, because with the Emperor's Divide coming in, if they were both knocked up, that might have been not enough time, but he's very on top. It was textbook support Tahm Kench play, right? Always having his eye on the health bars of his teammates.
Yep, managed to pick it up with 4 out of 9 votes. Once again, 4 out of 9 just seems to be our rating for today's middle series, which you could understand as far as its position in the standings, but only 1 extra vote for Ixu after we cast our votes. It was on the Korean broadcast. I like to think that it was Dongjun that gave it to us, as he's looking very somber on the... Sombra? That's an Overwatch character. That's not what we're supposed to be talking about here. He's looking somber on the LCK broadcast. Maybe not happy with that particular choice. As APK, now on the blue side as we get into Champion Select, he's going to ban away the set. And the Aphelios is going to be the follow-up ban. Griffin staying pretty standard here as we move into our third game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here, right? Griffin, again, it's hard for a team to change overnight, let alone within a single match, in terms of what they're, what style they're able to play. Yep. Their drafts have always they've been safe today. It hasn't really indicated any strong disadvantage where it's like, okay, the game's over. But if you're waiting for the game to drag out, especially in this meta, and even more so against APK, who's currently on a rampage with their faster style of play, you're going to have some trouble. And we have quite a few priorities open.
Yeah, Kalista has gone through, but the priority on the Trundle is exceptionally high here, as Flawless locks that one away. So far, Trundle, 100% win rate in this series, so maybe they've identified that, and we'll be taking that one away. As, again, it is going to be Trundle versus Jarvan, by the looks of things. That one's locked in. And now where are Griffin going to go? I mean, Jarvan Misfortune is sort of the flavor of the series so far, but APK can change things up now, and we'll see exactly what their deviation is going to be, as maybe it's Cover's turn to hop on the Pigeon in the mid lane.
That's true. Yeah, we've seen Yucal kind of prefer that as his pick in the game so far, even with the risk of going up against many of those strong counters. But they might be looking at something for Hybrid here.
Okay, Kai'Sa going to be locked in, and it's going to be paired with the Nautilus as per usual. Definitely a different flavor, but Hybrid's had some fantastic Kai'Sa performances. And really, Kai'Sa isn't priced in to needing QSS because she has her ultimate, so I think it's the perfect Hybrid champion to be locking in with that free shield and reposition, as this would be about as textbook as the start of the draft could go for Griffin, as Yucal is going to lock away Sylas instead. Okay.
I like it. I mean, first of all, a bit of a change, and second, if they pick the Azir, I think even though Game 1 was quiet from Cover, they would have to maybe ban the Zoe, given that Cover was there, and they're actually going to continue banning it anyway.
Yep, actually, I don't mind Zoe being banned here, even though Portal Jump isn't exactly the greatest hijack that you can get. Still going to take that one away, as the Leona is taken off the board for Irove. I think Leona was something that he was pretty good at in game number 1, and also another champion that promotes building QSS, and Hybrid doesn't like to buy it. Nor does he like to take cleanse. He prefers to live in the CC, you know? It's like, if I'm playing perfectly, I won't ever get hit by CC. Am I right?
I mean, it's the perfect training tool, right? Every time you get caught, you're like, oh, I should have just not gotten caught. And then
why the heck would you pick Silas and then ban Ornn?
I'm not sure. The Silas pick with these bans is a little weird. I think the Zoe ban, again, just given what it's been able to do, and obviously Azir still being available, makes sense. But the Ornn ban, maybe just not confident in that lane if the Silas is going to go to the top lane. Because in the laning phase, the Ornn can still pick up a decent advantage as he wishes. But we'll have to see if it's really going to be Untara up there, as we see that Alistar has been making some returns here and there from various support players. I personally am a big fan. I think he offers many of what the current kind of big supports offer, and maybe he's not still top tier, but with a couple of the base changes, I think he's good enough now.
Yeah, so he's going to be locked away now. Cover thinking about Azir. They need some solo laners here on the side of APK, as it's going to be the Aurelia. Cover is going to throw the gauntlet, as this can be a matchup that Silas can win. Actually, stealing Vanguard's Edge is really strong in this particular matchup. We've seen that work out very well in multiple games. I think it might have even been against Cover, as he is our resident Aurelia player. And now, what is Ixu going to play? As his Zillion's up, his Alawi's up, but his Mordekaiser is our personal favorite, and he locks it in again. I loved it. I love it. So good.
They need that magic damage as well, so it works out perfectly. We'll see if he continues to go for the multi-sword build on the Mordekaiser, someone who's just going to stick onto his opponents. Looks like it might be that Rumble again for Untara.
What?
I don't know if you want that, though.
I think this is exactly what Ixu played his multi-swords Mordekaiser into last time.
I actually think you're correct. And it just makes sense, right? I mean, you're able to just beat down on the Rumble. The Rumble has a timer when you're in a 1v1 fight, and he's very strong, but Mordekaiser can actually be pretty tanky, especially in a single 1v1. So this is a little questionable. Now, Silas can steal the Mortal, and that could change the flow of things a little bit, but we'll see if UCal can even get to that point.
Yeah, I'm actually just going through it now. It was into Silas. I tell a lie. The Mordekaiser was picked into the Silas, and so that's why they're picking it here, just in case Griffin were to flex the Silas into the top lane, forced it to be played mid, which is the matchup that Cover was picking the Aurelia into. So a few mind games here and there, but they are able to dictate where the champions are going. And I love the draft from APK purely because Ixu picked Mordekaiser.
That, you know what? I'm with you on that, right? We're here for the action, quite frankly. And Ixu on that Mordekaiser is going to bring it. Obviously, all eyes on Cover as well, as if he's able to bring back the power in Irelia, or if it's going to be another disappointing game. We also saw in the last seconds, it was still 3 exhausts on the side of Griffin, both in mid and the bottom lane. So that can ruin quite a bit on the side of APK, whether it's used against Hybrid, Ixu, or maybe just all across the board. If it's a just all-on 5-on-5 team fight, things might get a little iffy. I assume it's mostly actually for Ixu, just given that he might be going for those flanks.
Well, we'll see whether Ixu is going to get exhausted this game or whether his Death Realm will reign true. Love the skin choice as well, looking damn cool. Kind of like a Draenei from World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade. A little bit similar there in maybe some Paladin armor, something like that. Looking pretty cool. As, Cover just going to be chilling here in this mid lane. And Iroh going to spot out Secret here. And look, nothing much is really going to happen. Wet noodle fight as far as these supports are concerned. And we'll see whether Viper and Iroh are going to be able to get the lane state that they're looking for. As we have a look at the runes, and I don't see any Scorches, so we're having a good day.
There you go. Everyone on board now. Everyone playing proper League of Legends.
Yes, real League of Legends right here.
Also, Tarzan on Jarvan, I'm not convinced, just given how Griffin plays so slow. I feel like the Tarzan wants to make some action happen earlier on. And he's not going to be able to do that much. We'll see, actually, if he's maybe going to focus a little bit in the top lane, though. That might be where they want to get a bit of that advantage. Obviously, the Alistar is going to help a lot, but if it's Kai'Sa and Nautilus, they'll be pretty slippery.
Yeah. As you see, Ixu looking pretty swell up there towards the top side, going to wander over a ward. You can see Untara moving on over there as well, wanting to try and deny the Mordekaiser positioning. And probably going to take some free harpoon damage there as we were just peering at the minion wave. But there's a really good dredge line to land by Secret already here in this lane. As Hybrid able to offer some damage back with the Acathian Rain. Not bad at all.
Yeah, decent trade, right? Take the health away from the carry, and for the support, who's going to be able to regen it. And also, Nautilus, of course, always has that shield if they get into another skirmish. UCal and Cover. Again, Cover is Irelia. Currently, scoreline-wise, not fantastic, but he's always shown affinity for it. So, see if he's able to make it. You mentioned it during the draft, obviously, in terms of a 1v1. Silas able to make great use of that Irelia ultimate, but it always comes down to the stun when it comes to Irelia, right? If you can land it, you're going to start that fight off quite well.
Oh, yeah. As the exhaust comes in and Cover has to flash. Tarzan not going to flash after him or anything like that. And already successful gank at level 3. Nice work from Tarzan.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. You want to see a little bit more action when it comes to that Jarvan. They're able to get it. They use the exhaust, but again, it's not the end of the world. If you're drawing out that flash for an exhaust, I think UCal's okay with that. He just has to watch out for any potential ganks coming in from Flawless as we see him prepared on the bottom side.
Yep, and Cover able to avoid a lot of this damage here as UCal gonna get stunned. There's a huge minion wave. The Ignite goes down, Blade Surge, and First Blood solo kill coming in as Cover's able to walk out. The pillar was extraordinary from Flawless, and somehow Cover escapes with his life.
That is the most perfect pillar you could have asked for in that time. Tarzan just had no way out of it. And right as I was saying that UCal might be okay with that trade, Cover just goes in hard for the kill. Flawless making sure that his solo laner is protected on that exit.
That was just stunning by Cover. Wow. Incredible stuff. And look, now I'm never going to talk about that 0-4 performance ever again. He should consider himself absolutely 100% redeemed. As Ixu lands himself a decent obliterate, but otherwise Tarzan lying in wait, wanting to see whether he can get this kill on the top side. Doesn't have the flash flag and drag, but still going to come in here as Ixu will... Oh, doesn't actually flash until late, but will still survive.
I think, what? That seems weird. Maybe they just didn't have a call on that flash being gone from Tarzan. I think that's the only reason Ixu might have been a little curious if he should wait to use the flash. At the end of the day, he gets out, right? And he would have had to use flash anyway, so yeah. There's no difference in the result, but was a little curious why he waited so long. Cover now, much more confident.
Yep, another Blade Surge to come in there as Tarzan look to try and get on top of Cover, but now you can see the damage is just huge. Tarzan burning down, and Flawless will grab that kill thanks to a caster minion as now Untara chasing after Cover. Flawless flashing in to try and get on top of him. Great double stun comes down as the Ionian Fervor was keeping him alive for so long, but the flash comes out and the fadeaway harpoon is good for Untara.
Oh man, Ixu just not able to get there in time. That could have been such a big turn for APK, but Cover just had no way out. And at that point, I think you had to make the conscious decision either to lose it or not. I mean, look at this. Just flashy moves from that. Like, clears out all the minions first. Goes for the stun. To get the call on the Jarvan.
Oh my gosh. The interrupt was so sick. Did you hear them as well?
Yeah.
No one expected that to happen as we have a look at this replay as well.
Yeah, we do see Cover was making the same plays, and it turns out okay, right? They are going to get the kill on Tarzan thanks to the burn damage. Tarzan eventually goes down, but Rumble comes in. Now you do have that extra move speed off of that teleport, so Cover gets caught up. Flawless actually has to flash over to try to help, but Ixu's just not there in time. I mean, Untara and UCal, both of their champions, kind of deceptively tanky ones, and despite the stun, they're able to survive through. UCal gets out with his health back up top. And that's the end. Flawless didn't have his pillar, for one. That was the big difference in that second fight.
Yeah, not actually able to change up any positions. Probably could have actually been very useful with Yukal having that chain blocked for that extra CC. But he's now underneath his turret, as you can see Cover still has a pretty decent advantage here, 10 CS in the lead. And Irove looking for Secret here towards the bottom side. We haven't actually been paying too much attention here towards this lane. But you can see both of these AD carries probably pretty happy to play for more mid to late game, as we're looking for 2 items onto Hybrid as Irove taking a bit of damage, but Secret's going to take the worst of that trade, absolutely. And Hybrid was just using that time and space to clear out the minions. As you can see, pretty happy with that also. As going to miss that one. That's all right.
Yeah, Iroh, really good reaction, also zoning on the minions here, just trying to keep Hybrid at bay, but they're still pretty equal. Hybrid technically ahead if he can pick these up.
Yep,
She should have no problem.
Yeah, all 3 of them should go over to the Kai'Sa relatively easily, as you saw just there. I believe it was in Cathian Rain that satisfyingly demolished all of those creeps. Cover here versus Yukal. The blue buff was just successfully transferred to the mid laner of Griffin, and maybe Cover's going to be looking hungrily at that particular item. Flash advantage here for Cover, as he flashed much earlier than Yukal did, and so maybe an opportunity to be able to grab that one. As you can see, Yukal actually has been able to bring back that CS differential, but you can see there's a big stack of minions here that Cover should be able to lock down. Of course, Aurelia previously, in fact, back when our friend Chobra was probably commentating some League of Legends, or at least translating for it, in lane swap metas, Aurelia was picked up purely for her ability to farm so well underneath turrets. And so certainly able to lock down most of those minions, and has ticked up to exactly the same as Yukal, maybe -1, but that's all right. Yukal moves in now, and somehow, despite the fact that the early game was so Aurelia favored, Yukal has been able to pull back some leads here, having hit level 7. Hasn't hijacked anything just yet, does have that one available, as a back will come in here from Tarzan, but the map is pretty dark for APK, and that is why you can see that Cover is playing a little bit more defensively here in this position. And the flawless duet, not so flawless there.
Yeah. Yukal also 3 stacks on that Dark Seal, so that plus the Arm Guard. I think he's okay with a 1v1 here against Cover, but obviously it's going to come down to which jungler is nearby. Probably comes down a little bit to a skill difference, but the blue buff being on Yukal, he's able to set the pace a little bit. Cover can still push out, as we talked about with the farming abilities for Irelia, but they might have to watch out. Secret is nearby, so Tarzan and Yukal, they need a little bit more awareness on where the rest of APK is.
Yep, and Hybrid's level 6 as he moves on up here as well, so we'll be able to join most of these fights. Viper obliterates that minion wave, and we'll be able to get to work on some of these plates. This is a trade that Griffin have been happy to take multiple times, and has actually worked out very well for them. Also, as Viper does get one of those, but now they're going to trade the neutral objective. Oh my god, can you believe it? It took them 2 games, but now they're able to take down a Cloud Drake. Congratulations, Griffin. Second Drake going to be that Ocean. We're heading towards a Mountain or Infernal Soul. Both of them feel pretty good for either of these teams, wanting to get towards maximum tankiness or damage as fast as possible. Probably the Mountain Drake working out a little bit better for APK, as Flawless is going to be able to utilize it very well, on top of the fact that any sort of effective health buff is great for a Mordekaiser. Has been the case for a very long time, and Secret also going to be able to utilize it quite well. But I mean, Griffin, I guess, have an Alistair and a tank Jarvan. So not too bad there either, as we do have Cinderhawks completed for Flawless, but not for Tarzan just yet. And let's just see. Cover has been a little bit more quiet at this stage of the game. We'll see whether that is going to change. Probably looking towards his Blade of the Ruined King before he does decide to go more aggressive here in this one.
Yeah. Just recognizing, I think, with the items that currently Yukal is feeling pretty good about a 1v1 as well. On top of that, APK have lost out on a lot of vision given the movement prior, focusing on the Herald. So the mid lane's kind of in the dark, whereas Griffin and Yukal have sight all around the mid lane. So that's why you see Yukal happily trading a little bit more. Did miss Flawless for a second, but they're going to catch on to that. And Griffin should be backing out.
Yep, Secret moves on here to the mid lane just to clear out extra vision that is in the area. Ixu almost has his Wit's End completed and has a couple of CS in the lead, despite Ntara's kill and assist. And the Mordekaiser's been pretty quiet, so let's see exactly how he is going to go, as Hybrid will have all of this plate gold funneled into him as they deal with this minion wave. Perfect timing on that Rift Herald as well, as Hybrid's going to be able to get a fair bit of damage down. Also able to cause some extra damage there by only having one person near the turret. Of course, turret plates get more resistances based on the amount of enemy champions nearby. Is now Antara looking to kill the Aurelia once again, who does have Flash available. There's the Blade Surge that the Aurelia did not want, as Vanguard's edges are traded, and Yukao can have it turned around on top of him. Ixu grabs his first kill of the game very easily on the back of that teleport. Teleport advantage will be there for Griffin now, but APK do come out ahead as far as the trade.
Ah, man, that's the danger with Aurelia. I mean, she can be pretty slippery. She can be very swift. And with just Silas there for the hard CC, they weren't able to lock her down. I think they were relying on the exhaust being enough. But I think there was maybe just one more minion to the side where Cover was able to get to safety, and then also the distance to the tower a little bit too close. So if you watch here, there's a minion out to the side here. She actually just flashes out with the exhaust on and is able to trade those ultimates. Yukal actually dives into tower range. Not sure if he was aware that he was going to take a little bit of extra aggro, and gets caught behind, and Antara getting caught as well.
Yep, caught behind seems to be the aim of the game here, but Antara able to get himself out of the way. Subjugate is down on top of this Rumble, and Ixu's relatively low, doesn't have his Wit's End completed, as Tarzan's going to make his way in. Flashback available here for the Mordekaiser, who doesn't have a lot of his shield built up, so not going to be pressing his W at this particular point in time, but able to get down, grab that kill, and even out the CS. This Mordekaiser is pretty happy as this game continues, especially with how he's itemizing in this matchup right now. And Secret just going to make sure that Cover is A-okay.
Yeah, and because of that dive earlier from Yukal, we do have now the Blade of the Ruin King finished for Cover, also a Null Magic Mantle, which is going to help negate a lot of that initial damage. Yukal comes back with his Revolver as well, but it doesn't feel as good because you lost the 3 stacks on the Seal. So you're kind of just evening out where you were. Of course, the passive on the Revolver helps a little bit. But I think Cover has the lead again, especially with exhaust down. Even without the Ignite, I mean, Cover is pretty comfortable setting the pace in the mid lane once again.
Also has a completed Blade of the Ruin King versus bits and bobs of other stuff here for Yukal. So I actually really like the pickup of the... I like the power level, sorry, of where Cover is right now. But he's going to have his wave shoved in. Misses out on a melee minion. As we have a look at Griffin's bottom lane, clearing out this wave. We have 3 plates left, bottom side of the map, but the plates just fall off. And top lane, absolutely 0 going for either side. I think maybe 1 turret plate went in favor of Antara, but not too much of a big deal there, as the Death's Grasp is going to go wide. And now Flawless is going to make his way top lane yet again with that flash that is now freshly on cooldown. Pretty textbook play here, and you could imagine that Antara should be able to read that. He heads back underneath his turret, despite the fact that not too many wards are here. But you can see Flawless holds this minion wave, and Subjugate is going to give him that tankiness. Equalizer does go down, as there's the Death's Grasp. But I have a feeling Ixu is still going to die. Oh, gets himself a shield and keeps himself up.
I wasn't sure if he had used it right at the start, but it looks like he just had it stacked up, had saved it, and wasn't stacking up throughout that fight. I mean, that was just a telegraph dive that, Antara really couldn't have done much unless he backed out way earlier, which I think would have been maybe a little too cautious, given where things were on the map. This does mean the Drake goes to Griffin, so Griffin's still taking advantage of what they can.
Yep. Pretty good here, as Flawless Duet's going to go wide. 4 members of Griffin lying in wait, as Ixu was underneath his turret trying to get some work done, but not going to be able to stay there, as Antara thinking about chasing, but noticed that there were some minions to be killed, and, here in the LCK, we're all about killing minions, not champions. As Flawless is once again back up here, so might have been overly aggressive in order to go for that play anyway. Level 9 are our junglers, as Ixu and Antara have second ranks in their ultimates. Haven't seen too much as far as the Death Realm is concerned. But we'll see how we are going to go. But Griffin, I mean, at the moment, they're winning when it comes to neutral objectives, which is just huge, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it just shows that I think they're much more aware of the flow of the game coming into Game 3. They're able to make these trades across maps, not just in single fights. Looking for a potential dive, but deciding it's a little too risky. Now that means Herald still goes to Flawless once again. Where are they going to put this? Hopefully right away in the top lane or mid lane if they decide that top's going to just go down on its way anyway.
Yeah, it looks like Flawless is moving up top side. We'll see whether that is actually intended to be locking down this turret, as Flawless and Ixu are going to ignore the backdoor bonus. They don't mind about that one too much, as Ixu is once again, it's triple swords, baby. We're going towards our Nash's Tooth as our second set of swords, and then hopefully that Rage Blade that was just so satisfying last time out. It was up against the Freak of Freaks, where APK Prince were able to get a clean 2-0. Wonderful stuff. And we're going to have a look at this dive once again. And Tara got a decent equalizer, but just didn't really feel like what they wanted. I think Flawless was probably trying to hold on to the turret aggro there.
Yes,
but,
he was.
sort of a little bit whiffed.
He wasn't really doing much aside from that, but he still wasn't holding aggro either. Stepped a second too far out. I think also was hoping that just because of the subjugate damage, he was going to trigger it first, but Mordekaiser goes in, still gets out with the shield, and Flawless being very helpful across the map, just putting down pressure so that his laners can push down these turrets. Obviously helps with a little bit of the damage as well, but making sure that they're chasing out the enemy. Now Tarzan comes in, Flawless is going to spot him, Cover not jumping in either.
Bertha taken there by Flawless, stolen away from Tarzan's jungle, but Griffin not really quite finding their angle that they're looking for. 2 minutes until this Mountain Drake, but we're still considering a fight around this area. Headlock hold is gigantic. Bullet time is perfect. As it was some decent knockups, the Secret's going to flash himself out. Hybrid's extremely low, but no one's died just yet. Vanguard's Edge comes in, and Hybrid just snipes off the Jarvan. He will be sacrificed for it, and it's a 2-for-1 trade as now Ixu puts Antara in the Death Realm, and the idea is to make sure that he can keep in range for those auto attacks, utilize that attack speed, but he's unable to, and that was a fight for basically nothing, but it was won by Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin. Now, you saw the lack of damage, right? It was really just a bullet time, and the misfortune was so far out. If you watch here, Irov gets an amazing start, and you can see it's telegraphed. Tarzan's ready as well. So you see the bullet time going flash, and then the combo from Tarzan, and they get so low, but there's no one to finish them off. This gives APK time to join in, try to clean up some fights. Hybrid, eventually we see going down. Now, Viper gets a little distracted. Viper decides, okay, we've chased them out. We're not going to follow through to their jungle. Maybe we should go for the kill on cover first, which gives Hybrid that window. But at the end of the day, they are able to save their teammate as Ixu exits the Death Realm, and they save themselves. And like you said, Griffin wins that fight, but it was just a little bit unfortunate. I think if Viper had just been a step closer before starting the bullet time, maybe could have followed with an auto attack.
Yeah, potentially, but still no harm, no foul. APK still hold on to their 1,000 gold lead, and they don't really lose anything from that particular scenario. You can see a fair bit of damage done to the outer turret in mid lane, but that is all they can really hang their hat on. And 37 seconds left on this Mountain Drake, and you can see all of APK are able to head over here if they would like to. Vision now just getting cleared out by Griffin. And I would suggest that APK actually go to try and contest this Drake. A 4-stack of Mountain Drake would be just amazing here for this team. As you can see, 5 members in the area, cover finally turning up, and they'll utilize Shirley in order to play defense. As Irov over here does love his Hex Flash, as Death's Grasp not going to really do too much, and Shirley is going to go down after getting 1 swift headbutt. As Flawless might need to get over there and start taking down some of these wards.
So many for Griffin, and they're actually going to get the advantages again in just clearing out the vision. Doesn't necessarily mean they have the advantage in the fight.
Oh, phenomenal pillar once again from Flawless as Tarzan getting taken down very low. I believe Death Realm was utilized. Yep. It was, but the stopwatch is going to be there for Tarzan. Still, he's going to fall down. A gigantic shield for the Mordekaiser, but there's the bullet time that we've been waiting for. Hybrid still at full health, however. He's up against Viper, who's very, very low on mana, but should still be able to win out this duel. Secret is going to finally CC him, and there's the close in. UCal with the Kingslayer will lock this one down, and Griffin, a massive team fight win and much more proactive play here in this mid game.
This is so refreshing to see from Griffin. I mean, they were ready for that fight. They did not back out, despite Tarzan getting caught, which seemed to be almost the end, because that means your jungler's dead. You can't contest the objective, but Tarzan's able to stay alive. Like you said, we see Tarzan getting caught, and Ixu is going to put him into the chamber right after he gets pulled back. They realize he gets knocked back. There's the death chamber, so they're in the fight right now, but no one else from APK is around. Everyone from Griffin crowds, and the perfect stopwatch right before the end of the death chamber means that the stats don't continue to go over to Ixu, makes him just squished enough for the bullet time to finish off the fight. Everyone's crowded around. Of course, this is one of those times where also the Mountain Soul being activated across Summoner's Rift allowed Viper to get a really beautiful bullet time through that jungle entrance. Griffin just playing so well in that team.
Yeah. The bullet time was just spectacular there. As you can see, gigantic amounts of damage. Hybrid was also able to stick on the backline for a while, stayed out of range of the bullet time, but then the flash forward by Viper. That's what we want to see. Forward flashes, proactive plays. Griffin not playing like Griffin. That's what we want.
Yeah, UCal also very aggressive too. I mean, going back in, knowing what Silas is capable of. Sometimes we see when Silas have a bit of a slower start or not an explosive start, they kind of just wait until they're able to utilize, just their hijack a little stronger, but really relying on his basic abilities to go in for further fights, pick up an extra kill for himself as well.
Yeah, also understanding his limitations. That's something that Silas can be really frustrating with, is using his Kingslayer when you think that you've got a guaranteed kill. Certainly isn't what they're able to do. So APK couldn't capitalize on his low health bar whatsoever because he was just playing very well on that particular champion. Viper here in the mid lane will just clear out some minions. Zixu was thinking about it back, but he is going to cancel it for now. Cover in a side lane doesn't have teleport, but he's going to be answered by a teleportless UCal as well. Only a single teleport available on either team, in fact, as it's going to be Ixu that has his. He's now just moving out of his base. See what he's actually going to pick up here. You can see he's got a Ruby Crystal and a Cloth Armor, wanting to get a little bit more tanky at this stage of the game. As Cover has his minion wave dealt with there by UCal.
I also love that Cover also going for, of course, the Blade of the Rune King on top of the Wit's End, and that allows both Ixu and Cover just to be great threats in the side lane, because who's going to stop them? It has to be either Rumble or Silas, and in that dual matchup, both of them are geared to the teeth to go up against either of the opponents. Silas will give a little bit more trouble, but I think both Cover and Ixu are happy to face whoever. So even without the teleport, it draws so much threat away from Griffin. And despite the good, team fights from Griffin, if not everyone's there, they're not going to be able to start a team fight.
Yeah. There you go. Well, we'll see whether Griffin can continue this, because still, I mean, the gold is basically even. 24 minutes into the game, 1,000 gold really doesn't mean too much, even though I guess it's technically 1.7. But still, this can go either way. We've got Wit's End now done for Cover. He's very, very strong, especially against the double magic damage of Griffin's solo lanes. But I think if APK can correctly focus onto Viper, that should be their hope and a prayer of getting into this game. Because they do have ways. Like, I mean, Ixu flashes in, gets that Death Realm onto Viper, and then there's an ensuing fight. That is one that APK can win. So we'll see whether that's indeed something that they're going to be able to successfully do. And I think maybe that's actually a decent argument for why Ixu's decided to build up some armor now, if he's actually going to be focusing on Viper in these fights.
It must be the reason. Now, the question is, Viper also has that exhaust. So I actually think Viper can still have a pretty good chance at maneuvering around within that Death Chamber.
Not to mention he's got QSS now as well. He didn't actually look down at that item, so he's able to immediately exit that particular Death Realm. So maybe we're going to have to put that on cooldown before we go for that particular option.
I mean, at that point, who do you really go for? I guess you're just trying to steal the most stats as possible. Or, I mean, maybe you just lock in the Silas and you just say, we're going to go for a duel if you're confident that you can win. I don't know if you are, though. Especially because Silas really just has to last that duel if he thinks he's going to lose with the Zonia. So,
yeah,
not
exactly.
many targets.
Maybe look for someone who doesn't have a stopwatch. Might be your opportunity there, as Ixu might need to just choose a target, any target, because he's surrounded by 4 people. Equalizer goes down. He misses his Q there, is now flashing to try and get to safety, but another beautiful bullet time from Viper will say goodnight to the top laner of APK. And they'll have to move away as well. 10 seconds before the Mountain Drake. Perfect timing for Griffin.
when you're picking up a lot of swords, you want to be able to hit people with them. And to not able to... I mean, Rumble is the only one without that stopwatch. Obviously, Jarvan's is currently broken, but even Rumble able to get away just comfortably using the equalizer, realizing that no one else was around on the map. Probably great communication and awareness with their vision that they've had through and through this game, and just keeps Mordekaiser at bay. Ixu, we're starting to see the limit of Mordekaiser as the Baron not able to be taken by APK.
No, not going to be taken right here as, Ixu's now looking for his Warden's Mail into his Randuin's Omen, wanting to deny Viper his crit damage, but Griffin get themselves the Mountain Soul. These team fights just became so much harder for APK.
Yeah, I mean, Ixu's Mordekaiser, he wants to find those 1v1s, and Griffin's just not giving him a chance. Even with both Cover and Ixu trying to split these lanes, Griffin's just been much more aggressive, which again is something we haven't seen too often. And they don't have a chance. So Ixu's going for the flanks, but if he's the only one flanking, there's no support once he comes out of that Death Chamber.
Yeah. And now Griffin not even looking towards Baron or anything like that, just going to be sieging down this mid lane. Yukal has a minion wave that he prepared earlier, and he's going to be able to start whacking on that one as well, as the rest of Griffin are going to move on over. Tara standing at the ready with a potential equalizer is now Cover in absolutely the wrong position, but does go golden, flashes himself out. Good Death's Grasp. That's a huge headbutt pull into the front line. Death Realm does come in as a bullet time, again doing some work, but Ixu's able to keep himself alive for quite a long time. Not quite enough there as Hybrid's at half health. He can't really get the damage done as Antara just flashes on top of him. He's going to go into his Zhonya's as well, as now APK, 4 members just struggling to stay alive in this fight. You can see just how durable Griffin are.
Yeah, the Mountain Soul doing so much work. Really loved the quick little 360 by Antara at the end, not that it did much. So we see the teleport coming in from Ixu, and Cover gets caught, but the stopwatch lasts just long enough. Ixu almost goes down before the Death Chamber, but goes into the chamber and tries to chase through on Yukal. But meanwhile, outside of the Death Realm, it's going to be Viper with that bullet time chasing away the rest of APK. So once again, Ixu's left behind, and he lives for a long time, but he's going to come out and immediately die. There's a quick little 360 spin from Antara, just chasing out all members of APK as they start ticking down, and Griffin wins yet another fight.
Yep, not going to go towards the Baron, though, as Griffin's sticking to some old tendencies here. That's a neutral objective. We want to take our time before we go for anything like that. As looks like Hybrid is building towards a Zhonya's as his 4th item. This is officially the AP Kai'Sa variety, which will be doing a fair bit of burst damage. Also poke damage with the Void Seeker, something that we don't talk about a lot with Kai'Sa, but certainly will be buffed as far as that damage value is concerned. Viper over here does just get Soul Vision of this Baron. And Iroh, he's had a great performance so far. I mean, these headbutt pulves have been pivotal in all of these team fights. Is now Flawless moving on towards the side. And a pillar just to keep Secret and Hybrid alive. Antara in flanking position right now as they're all spotted. Equalizer goes down. Hybrid supercharges to try and get out, but he's going to take almost his entire health bar in damage for that. But now, Equalizer not going to actually kill anyone, and we'll see whether Griffin are going to be able to utilize this to try and get anything done. Tarzan pulled back, but they're only getting through the Mountain Soul shields. That's what APK are achieving.
Yeah, they haven't been able to really burst down through that and force someone to back or get a little bit of breathing room near their own turrets and their base. And now we're seeing pings for Baron. They feel that they've put down enough pressure, which they have in mid and top. But APK, I mean, you know, they're poised to challenge it if they want. I don't know if they want to, though, given also just the experience differences across the map and also the soul as well. Yukal, Iroh, and Antara all waiting for the flank.
Yep, and we've got the Vanguard's Edge already picked up here by Yukal as Dredgeline does come in. Hybrid is going to jump immediately on top of Antara. I believe he still has his Zhonya's available, though. A Secret can't get back into this fight as Cover finally turns up. Now Yukal going to dash on over to him, but the Jarvan's already fallen down. Hybrid goes golden very quickly, now invisible as he's trying to fight Viper. 1 versus 2, he's not able to do so as Yukal was keeping 3 people busy this entire time. Another Kingslayer as finally he falls down as Antara gets in on top as another bullet time just flies over, and Antara is even going to survive in this exchange. Viper still looking for more as Ixu runs his way out. This should be Baron for Griffin.
Yeah, I mean, with Viper being zoned out so far, they weren't able to get more kills, but just, I mean, look at this setup. Secret actually kind of ruins Griffin's plan by going in first with the hook. Now, on the bottom side of the fight, we have the Death Chamber come out. Yukao has been zoned out, so Antara just backs away. Meanwhile, Tarzan jumping out, trying to survive. Hybrid has already jumped in way past the front line. So he picks up that kill, which locks up Viper. If Viper was anywhere even closer to this fight, Yukao surviving for the entirety against Death Chamber and 3 members of APK, I mean, that's a kill. You see the bullet time coming, forcing the flash from Ixu. So a little bit split because of Hybrid, but this actually works out in Griffin's favor. If Hybrid is always going to be the only one jumping forward because of the threat from Yukao, they're happy to just keep Viper alive, take down Hybrid, and that's damage lost on the side of APK, whereas, you know, Griffin lost Tarzan, which isn't going to be too detrimental.
Yeah, and now you've got the Baron being started. Elder Drake is in 18 seconds time. It might be an opportunity, actually, for APK to trade these neutrals. As in 10 seconds, they should be able to take this one as they spot all of Griffin on the Baron, and immediately APK moves straight towards this Elder. Cover's going to be over here as well, as you can see that Griffin don't want to let this one go, but they are entirely corralled towards this area. Ixu waiting off to the side. Irove, I believe, just spot him out there. As Hybrids are looking for the Void Seekers, trying to lock down any sort of poke damage onto Griffin. Cover off to the side. May have actually just been spotted there by Antara, as yeah, the pings do go down. And Viper, he's splitting. He's trying to get some meaningful damage onto a turret. But APK decided to take this opportunity to start off the Elder Drake. Yukao grabs himself a Subjugate. As you can see, Antara and Irove just bodyguards.
Like a Viper.
Yeah, he's just going to probably win the game.
Yeah,
as APK have decided to commit to this. A fight without Viper is certainly one that APK can win, but can they keep their base alive is the question. As they're pulling away, you can see Viper's just toying with them.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's just a leash onto the Elder Drake. This is 100% only losing here for APK. As Viper's moved on back, everyone's back. They're not going to lose an inhibitor right here, but they'll lose an Elder Drake, and most likely the game off this one play.
Siri just 100% outmaneuvered by a Misfortune. Now, Misfortune, you know, can afford to do that because she has great movement speed, but I thought it was so smart that Viper, he was actually kind of in danger territory when they first corralled into the river, kind of at the center of the team, just about to get jumped on, and then just decides, you know what, I don't have to be this close. I'm going to back out, start split pushing, and I don't know why APK started the Elder Drake if they weren't confident in bursting it down, which if they want to, they need all of their members in the pit, but of course cover was also looking for a flank. So with all this close range that APK had, they just didn't have an answer to that, so they should have either backed or just started. They were forced to fight 45 with a Death Chamber or something similar, and now Griffin has every tool on the Rift to finish the game.
Yeah, and Baron has just worn off, I believe, or it is very close to doing so. The next one will be available in 4 minutes time, as the Elder Drake ticking down, minute and a half left on that one. This inhibitor getting very, very low, and the inner turret on the bottom side is going to be the priority here for Griffin as they try and get their lanes in order, dotting some I's and crossing some T's, as it were. As APK, they may need to choose an opportunity to start a fight, as Ixu just doing his very best to defend against this open inhibitor in the mid lane, but I feel like it's going to be Griffin taking the cake, eating it too, and then winning the game.
Yeah, there's nothing that APK can do at this point to stop the fight. Yukao just getting that Subjugate to stay tankier.
And Irove doesn't care about being pulled back with that Death's Grasp. At least Nexus turrets aren't taking too much damage just yet, but that should change as this siege continues, and the first Nexus turret probably will be focused. There's the Equalizer down as Hybrid. Able to avoid it for the moment. Yukao in the backline as Ixu's doing his best to try and fight him. Death's Grasp comes in, but it's just not enough as Irove, the only one that anyone can kill, and Griffin will be able to win this game, stopping the winning streak that APK had found for themselves. They managed to get 3 in a row, but now the Nexus will fall against them, and Griffin pulling themselves one step further away from relegation.
Yeah, I mean, this is the win that Griffin really needed to stay alive or have any hope of staying alive. And so they get it. It was a bit of a long run, but 2-1, they still earn that victory. And it was also, again, just great to see that they were a bit more proactive, a bit more aggressive, and not just waiting for that long timeline.
Yeah. Now, it was good stuff from Griffin. Good to see that they were able to actually play for some objectives in the early game, in game number 3 as well, trying to turn around what was some very, very slow play, allowing APK to dictate the flow of the game in games 1 and 2, to be honest, despite the fact that they, in fact, won game 1. So, not exactly the most, I guess... Yeah, it doesn't make me too pleased in Griffin. However, they were able to take a game off T1 in their last match, a game off KT Rolster in the one before, and now able to actually finish a series against an APK that certainly were on an uptick. So, still, it's a good sign, but I want to see more from Griffin before I'm really convinced.
Well, yes, they definitely need to have a lot more improvement, and once you're improved, also add that consistency. But, I mean, breaking that losing streak, what is that, 10? They were on a 10 losing streak, so yeah, that's pretty massive for Griffin. And I think, again, Game 3 was really good hope that we've seen. Their win against T1 was really good hope. And it just continues to prove that you can't play too slow anymore. The meta is definitely shifting where you want to pick up the pace a lot earlier.
And also, I do want to let you guys know that their last victory was against APK in the first round robin. Wow. So, able to really bookend that one. Love it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So, not exactly the greatest of achievements here. However, every win is a win. And the rest of Griffin's games, will actually, I'll have a check-in now to see what they have to face next. As their next match is up against Damwon, which will be a tough one. Then Afrika, which could be an anything experience. And then finally against Humble Life. So they do have some games that they can win.
Okay.
Coming up.
Yeah, I mean, APK had a decent start as well. Cover was very flashy early on. Flawless seemed to be really in sync with Cover in the early parts of the game. But things really fell apart when we saw Viper and Iroh able to roam about a little more. Surely we'll see that triple headbutt where it didn't result in a kill, but that was a kind of foreshadowing into what Griffin was able to do as a team. Also, Untara keeping up against Ixu, kind of making sure he doesn't get too far. And here's that play where you see what this composition is capable of. The damage not quite there yet, but they're able to follow through after.
Absolutely fantastic. CC into brilliantly placed ultimate there from Viper, as unfortunately unable to keep their jungler alive in that instance. But this was honestly the triple swords Mordekaiser not really working out this time for APK. He wasn't ever able to really get too many auto attacks off, and then Tarzan baiting him in to the middle of his entire team. Ixu did manage to get that kill right there, but at what cost is the question. As that is one hell of a bullet time for Viper to deny any sort of teamfight victory. This flash forward is never what you expect from Griffin, but always fantastic to see.
Yeah, and UCal, both in this fight and a couple fights later, just recognizing that if hybrids jump to the back, he wants to stay on Mordekaiser or vice versa. And again, that just dismantles the whole theory of what APK picked. They want to split push, they want to challenge these 1v1s. I mean, Kai'Sa likes 1v1s, Mordekaiser, really, they all like these separated duels. And the whole of Griffin said no, and even in these fights, we're going to make sure you can't prioritize separating us. We're going to make sure we separate your team, actually, and then pile on our entire combo.
Yeah. Really good stuff. I also like the mind games around the Elder Drake, as we're not actually going to see any of that because it wasn't really much of an engagement. And this is Griffin just honestly finishing off what was a well-played macro game towards the end. As Iroh does eventually fall down, but honestly that does not matter. And Griffin will eventually take down the Nexus. It's a difficult call when it comes to player of the game. I think Viper played well. I think Iroh played well. I think UCal definitely had a good game. But I think, to me, it feels like Viper was always in the correct positions, and I want to give it to him just based on how he was positioned in previous games as well, and didn't pick up player of the game, right? Like, sometimes there's like an overflow effect of how the series had gone. As yeah, the Dragons were certainly swooping in to take down APK.
Yeah, and I don't know which player it was, but I don't know if it was maybe Viper calling himself the bus for the carry, but someone shouting, "Oh, the bus is so nice!" They're just cheering for their win. Of course, they've been starved for that a little bit. During that fight, we also heard UCal being very confident in that Death Chamber, just saying that Mordekaiser's not getting out. In fact, you're locked in here with me. Completes that duel and gets out.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Also had QSS pretty early in this game as well, so wasn't ever too scared of Ixu. It was a long, drawn-out affair, but eventually Griffin were able to reign supreme against what was a creative but ultimately inferior draft to Griffin.
Yeah, and so, again, great to see these changes. And I think, more than anything, it's also just good to see that a lot of these teams that maybe many fans or viewers had written off for a while are still showing life in the LCK, right? No one's completely been written off from the rankings.
Yeah, no one. It feels like someone can always beat someone else, even if they're not doing it quite as much as DRX, Genji, or T1 at this particular stage of the LCK. I think Damwon needs to be mentioned as well. I think we've got a top 4 and then the rest. As KT have fallen off just a little bit. Still, we've got a Telecom War to look forward to, which is going to be on Friday next week. DRX versus Damwon before that as well. So absolutely huge day of games. If you can watch anything, that is the one you should watch. As Viper will pick up player of the game 9-0-7, 35% of his team's damage, and had 5,000 gold in his pocket. The gold difference at the end against Hybrid was 5,000. That's pretty much. That's
a lot of gold. That's a couple items right there. And yeah, you just see, I think what you mentioned in terms of positioning is just so really important for Griffin. Vipers always seemingly having good positioning, but they don't win as often to make it shine. But therefore, he's also always just been the one hope. You see him dodging that hook there as well, just sidestepping a little early, so Secret can't latch on to the misfortune and try to block that bullet time. We see Viper here again. Kind of looks like he might be in the thick of things, but actually dodges the grasp from Mordekaiser and then follows through on Hybrid, making sure that they're able to trade that kill.
Yeah. Also, Tarzan kind of throwing his life away there just a little bit, but this was honestly a story of Griffin just making sure that they were always peeling for Viper so that he could get the damage down, and he was able to do so. And I like to see them actually getting rewarded for that faith that they're giving to their players. And it's 7 out of 9. Couple of cheeky little UCal votes there, one of them being from my friend Chobra here on the desk, but this time it's not going to be that 8 out of 9 that we all feel a little bit unhappy about.
That's true. I'm glad
don't
someone
worry, I've been there
agreed.
many times. Many times. Don't you worry, Chobra. It's not just you. As this time I managed to pick the correct one, but look, sometimes I just don't manage to do it. But it was a really good game there from Viper, and now we're going to be able to hear from the Griffin players. And it's been a really long time since we've had a Griffin interview. So now we're going to be able to peer into the minds of a Griffin that might be on an uptick now as Antara and Viper here on the line. So here is Jisung for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season with the Universe Translation, and we'll be hearing from Viper, Untara, the players of the game, from Griffin. It has been a long while. How do you feel right now? You guys must have a lot of things to say, right? Well, first of all, it's a big relief that we stopped the losing streak, and I'm happy that we won. And Viper, you're wearing the mask on. Are you feeling okay? No, I mean, there's no problem at all. I'm feeling perfectly fine. How are you feeling, Viper, about this win? Finally, we won, so I'm super happy. That finally, indeed. Have you ever been to a 10-match losing streak? Nope, this is my first time. What about you, Untara? I don't remember. Maybe I did. So it definitely was the first time for Viper. So how was things going inside of Griffin? What did 10 match losing streak mean to you?
그래도 저희 부족한 점을 많이 찾을 수
We
있어서
were able to actually
앞으로
learn
더 좋은
what
모습을
our
보여줄 수 있는 기회가
weaknesses
될 것
were.
같습니다.
So this can be an opportunity for us to show how much we improved to defense.
선수들 분위기도 약간 좀 다른 느낌이 있는 것 같은데 일단 뭐 패배한 이 경기는 제쳐두고
So first of all, let's go back to game number
엄청
1.
힘든 경기 아니었나요? 전황에 대한 판단은
Wow, it
어떻게
was a
하셨나요?
really
예,
hard
그러니까
game for
예,
Griffin, right?
용 다 줬죠?
You
전략
guys
다 줬죠?
didn't
장로만
contest for any
가지고
neutral
넥서스도
objective,
가져가셨거든요. 그렇죠.
but
예, 그
in the
경기가
end, you guys
너무
got
힘들고
the
이걸
Nexus.
어떻게 뭐
The
이런
game was really
생각이
hard,
그래서
so how did the
주권
players
주고
react to the
넥서스
situation? You
설치했는데
guys were
정황 파악 그 어려운 순간
had to
어떻게 하는 거예요?
had to give up the objectives, or was that planned? To be honest.
세 번째 용 때 제가
Well,
공기를 안 썼으면
At the third drake, if I had my ult up,
했는데
we would contest and look for a fight, but I made a mistake. So we had to let them take the dragon. So we didn't have any priority to contest for the fourth dragon as well. So we just had to hold on to our power spike and the moment where we can win the team fight.
그 생각도 하고 있었네요. 재밌게. 예. 자, 그래서 결국 그렇게 어렵게 승리를
In the end,
you
guys did get
처음이죠.
a very meaningful win, especially for Untara. This is your first win since you came back to LCK and your first POG.
이 팬들한테 이렇게 또 LCK에서 인사드리는 것도
So it's been a while
또 오랜만일 것 같은데 이렇게
to have an interview in front of LCK fans
연패 끝내는데 기여하니까 또 기분이
and
어떻습니까?
also stopping that losing streak. How are you feeling?
그래도
I've still got a long
오늘
way to
끊어서
go,
많이
but
다행이라고 생각하고요.
yeah, it's a
연패를.
huge relief that we
그래서
were
이제 앞으로
finally
남은
able to
경기도
end it today.
무조건 이겨야 되는 경기들이라서
All the remaining
네,
matches, we
지금
also have
좀
to win
더
it
열심히
all.
해야 될 것 같아요.
So I think we have
그래서
to
그 탑 쪽은
keep
그
up the
선수
hard
입장에서
work.
본인이 좀 이제 좀 주전자를 좀 어느 정도 좀
So
끝이 아니면 좀뭐
Did
이런
you
느낌이
kind of
있습니까?
solidify
자꾸
your
나이가
spot
됐어요,
as a starting player?
일단은
Yeah.
예,
Yes.
뭐 계속 번갈아가면서 연습하고 있어가지고
We are actually trying,
예,
like,
뭐 제가 또뭐
taking
세시면은
turns during the scrims.
모르겠습니다.
So if I get worse, maybe I'll get subbed out.
서로 경쟁을 하고 있다.
네.
이런 얘기인 거 맞죠? 네. 아 그런 점에서 근데 오랜만에
same
승리 어쨌든 바이퍼
perspective,
선수 완전 뭐 이길 때마다 또 슈퍼 캐리
Viper, you always have been the one who the main carry of your team and always going really wild whenever you got the win. But this time around, Griffin player seemed more like very calm.
아까 승리하고 다들 기뻐했는데 지금
I mean, we
조금
were all
긴장이
really
있는 것
happy,
같습니다.
but we are now calmed down a little bit.
뭐 생각이 할게 많으니까요. 그리고 동부의 딜링 머신이라고 불리는 하이브리드.
And you were playing against Hybrid, the damage dealing machine of the East. So how was your bot lane competition against Hybrid?
굉장히 연비가 좋으신
I mean, his gas mileage
분이시라 조금 긴장했는데
was
그래도
great, so
팀원들이
I was a little bit
잘해줘서
nervous,
잘
but
풀린 것
rest of
같습니다.
my teammates were doing great, so I was able to get this
지난
win.
어쨌든 좀 쓰라린 아픔을
So,
계속 좀
You guys had to have a very rough time, and this losing streak was extended to 10 match losing streak. So what kind of feedbacks went back and forth during this hard time?
너무 좀 못하는 부분이 많았어서
네.
그냥
I mean, we
좀
were
더 기본적인
bad at so many things. We focused on doing the basic mechanics.
알겠습니다. 하지만 시간 패하면은 처음으로 돌아가는 게 중요하지 않아요?
Yeah, I mean, during a huge slump, it's really important to go back to the drawing board and starting back from the square one.
이제 다음 목표.
So what's your upcoming goal?
쉬운 일 아닌 것 같은데 앞으로 경기 어떻게 전망합니까? 먼저 운타라.
앞으로 경기
Well, upcoming
다
series,
이겨야 되고요. 다
we
잡아야
have
되고
to win it all.
스코어가 뭐
And
2대 1이든
no matter the set score, 2-2, 1-2-0, we just have to get every win we can get.
더 오늘 근데 사실 이겼는데도 부족한 게 너무
But
많았거든요.
even
그래서
though we
다음
got a
경기
win
이기려면
today,
좀
we
고쳐야 될게
were
많은 것 같아요.
underperforming so bad, so we
그리고
still have
바이퍼도
to get rid
자,
of all the
진짜
mistakes.
이런 상황을 만들어내거든요. 그래서 남은 경기 잘 이겨야겠다.
So Viper,
한 말씀 끝으로
how are you gonna
부탁드리겠습니다.
prepare for your upcoming series?
남은 경기는 꼭 저희가 발전한 모습을 보여드리기 위해서
Well,
더 열심히
in order
노력해서
to show
돌아오도록
improved
하겠습니다.
performance
알겠습니다.
in
다시
the
한번
rest of the series,
시합에
we
드디어
will do our
보여드리겠고요.
best in terms of
앞으로 좋은 모습.
practicing,
네,
and
보이는데 기쁘죠?
we will just
앞으로
keep
더
working
좋은
really
모습
hard.
부탁드리겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
This will be the end of the
축하드립니다.
interview with
감사합니다.
Viper and Tara from
수고하셨습니다.
Griffin,
네.
and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Jisun for the translation as per usual. And now, finally, Griffin have ended the 10-match losing streak. And we can all rest easy if we are Griffin fans.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of heard it all through the interview as well. Obviously, it's been a long time coming in, and because it's been such a dragged on season for them, split for them, I think even, it's hard for them to just be completely joyous. Still a lot to work on, but we saw hope. We saw some hope. We saw some improvement in both their style and understanding. Meanwhile, APK, I mean, I think this again proves that the consistency is still a bit lacking.
Yeah, it's still a newer team in the LCK coming together, right? And that does make some sense as far as how they played things out. And now, finally, we get to see our two now biggest losing streaks broken, or at least one of them, in our next match. Afrika versus Hanwha Life Esports. Both of these teams on a massive downward trend. And it's time for definitely, I was looking at Afrika as one of the top teams in the LCK as they were making their way in. They smashed Kesper Cup, they looked brilliant, and now they look all at sea. And we'll see whether Hanwha Life is going to be able to give them that health insurance that they're looking for in order to get themselves back on track. Is it health insurance or life insurance? I think it's life insurance.
It's life insurance in terms of the brand, yes.
So maybe if Hanwha Life are going to take down Afrika,
no.
hopefully they can give them some insurance beforehand. I'm not entirely sure. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have about a 30-minute break so that we can go and have some dinner. And then when we get back, it is that big one. Who is going to keep their losing streak alive? Find out after the break.